Well, I want to thank you all and welcome you to the White House on this very special occasion. It is indeed. I've been at every one of them, and we celebrate the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. That's a big deal. 100th. Wow. That's sort of special, the 100th. That's about as, like 150 is good, but 200 is better, right? 100 is better. I want to begin by expressing our sadness at the passing of a person who I knew very well. Jesse was a piece of work, I want to tell you. He was a piece of work, but he was a good man. He was a real hero, and I just want to pay my highest respects to Reverend Jesse Jackson. He was a good man. He was actually, as you got to know him, he got better and better all the time. A lot of people, you get to know him, they get worse and worse. Jesse got better and better. But I knew him well long before becoming president, and he really was special with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. You would say Jesse had serious street smarts, right? A very important ingredient to life, I will tell you. He was gregarious and someone who truly loved people and a force of nature. He was somebody that we're going to greatly miss, and on behalf of everyone here today, I know you join me in sending our condolences to the entire family. Got a great family. We're also honored to be joined this afternoon by many exceptional African-American leaders and patriots, including Secretary Scott Turner, recommended. Where is Scott? Where is Scott? Will you come up here, Scott? He was recommended by somebody who's very special to me, Ben Carson. Ben Carson. Where's Ben? Where's Ben? Come on up here, Ben. Come here. I got to get here. And his wonderful wife, Candy. Candy, I'm going to steal Ben for a second because, you know, Ben recommended Scott. And when Ben recommends somebody, I just do it. Did I make a good decision? Be careful. Don't fall, Ben. If you fall, that's the end. You can never recover from a fall. You know, you can make the greatest speech ever, but if you fall, my predecessor taught me that. So is Scott doing a good job, Ben?
He's doing the best job ever.
Come on, say that. I like that.
You know, one of the reasons I was so high on Scott Turner is he was really the driving force behind the opportunity zones, which doesn't get nearly the attention that it should, but it was because President Trump realized that the best way to get things done is through public-private partnerships and have everybody with skin in the game. And it is working, as are all the other things that he's been recommending. And at some point, the mainstream media will recognize that you don't politicize everything. You open your eyes and your ears, and you look and you see what works, and you deal with that. But the best thing about Scott, he's got a lot of energy. You know, I'm an old man now. I'll be 75 on my next birthday. And I'm not like President Trump. He just goes forever. But no one else is like that. But Scott Turner, we call him the Energizer Bunny, and he is doing a fantastic job. And I want to congratulate all the people at HUD because most of them have come back and continued with what we were doing during the first Trump term, and it's fantastic.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Well, just very briefly, thank you, Mr. President.
I met Alice, and she was incarcerated for what some people would say today is not even a fine, right, Alice? It's not even a fine. And I said, how long has she been in jail? 22 years. I said, 22 years. And right, Alice? And come on up here, Alice. Come on up. I said, 22 years, and she was on a phone call. This was over a phone call. I know about fake phone calls too, Alice, you know, remember? They tried to get me in a fake phone call. But Alice was in jail for like 22 years. I said, how many years does she have left? 28. I said, 28 years left. And I said it, and I mean, she admitted she made a little mistake, but it was not the kind of a mistake that you serve 50 years in jail for, like maybe a couple of months, maybe less than that. And I said, this is the most unfair. And then when I met her, I fell in love. My wife was very upset with it. Our great First Lady did not like that, Scott. She didn't like it, but Alice is great. And say a couple of words. It was so ridiculous. 22 years, she had 28 left. And I said, let's get her the hell out. And we got her out. We did a commute. And then when I got to know her, she was so high quality. I said, full pardon. So she's cleaner than anybody in this room, even than my friend right here. She's cleaner. Because of that, she's cleaner than anybody in this room.
Thank you, Mr. President. The feeling was mutual. I fell in love with this man, with his heart for this country, with his heart to really bring America back to the form of greatness that it deserved. And that's exactly what he has done. My story is truly a Joseph story. This president right here, President Donald Trump, brought me from the prison pit to the White House. Only in America could there be a story like my story. And President Trump is the only president who would have had the courage to bring someone like me, someone who received a second chance, but who knows more than someone who has sit among the captives, than someone who has been in captivity themselves. I did not get comfortable in my own freedom, but I went back, as Harriet Tubman said she did. She went back to draw many others into freedom. And President Trump has listened to those recommendations. There's so much more to come, because when you see me, you see a miracle. You see hope. You see second chances. And you see someone who is willing to roll up their sleeves and do the work, do the hard work to help individuals gain their freedom. President Trump did something historic in his first term. He signed the First Step Act into law. And for that, over 40,000, and that number is low, over 40,000 individuals have come home to their families early. And you know, many of those were Black Americans who had no hope. This president right here, as you look out upon this sea of Black Americans, this president hears you. This president cares for you. Don't let anyone tell you that this president right here, Donald Trump, is not for Black America, because he is. I'm standing here today as a testament to how he feels about Black Americans. There has never been a position like this. I don't know if there ever will be before. But I worked with him in his first term, and I'm proud to now officially have the title to make it happen. Let's get real with the realness. Let's get behind President Trump, who truly has turned our nation around and made us the envy of every country in the world. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, God, for recognizing and raising up this man to be the leader of the free world. I love you.
She's a great woman. Not only are we celebrating the century of Black History Month, also, as you know, this year we'll also be celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding. And the good thing, when they cheated on the election, they made me wait 4 years, and because I waited 4 years, I get the 250th year. I get the Olympics, which I was the one that got it, and I get the World Cup. So I got the World Cup, and I said, you know, it's too bad, before all this nonsense took place, I said, it's too bad. I got the World Cup to come here. Johnny, another Johnny, we got the World Cup. It was fantastic, the head of it, one of the great people. And I said, the only bad part is I won't be in office because my 4 years will be up. This would have been the more traditional route. And then they cheated on the election, and I said, no, we won by so much. We won by millions of votes, but they cheated. It was during a COVID period, and they cheated. And we did it again, and we made it too big to rig, too big to rig. And by doing that, I ended up getting the Olympics. Because we were responsible for both of them. And we're going to have a great year, but we're going to have a great 3 years. We're going to have hopefully we're going to have a great century, because that's ultimately what it's about. We'll get it started. But in my first term, I was honored to deliver unprecedented victories for black Americans and all Americans, frankly. But black Americans, I single-handedly secured record long-term funding for. I told you, the historically black colleges and universities. I created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones with our great secretary. And also, I think we have to do, and as I said before, Tim Scott really, he came to me with that idea, and we put it into use, right, Scott? And I signed historic criminal justice reform into law. We got criminal justice reform. Just so you know, for 30 years, you, more than any other group of people, has been trying to get criminal justice reform, and they couldn't do it. And a group of people came to my office, and they asked me to do it. They couldn't get it. They needed 5 conservative votes in the Senate, and conservative was 5 conservative white votes in the Senate. And of the 5, all 5 of them were totally against, and I called them up, and they were great. They were great. And one of them was Senator John Kennedy, to be honest with you. He was not in favor of it, and I spoke to him, and he was 100%. He's a great senator, a great guy, and you know that he was a tremendous help. So we got criminal justice reform done and approved, and nobody thought it could be done. And it's no wonder that in 2024 we won more African-American votes than any Republican presidential candidate in history. And just over 1 year ago, we had a dead country. We were a dead country. Scott just said it. We were dead as a doornail. We had an idiot as a president. We had a man that was not a president. Number one, he didn't win the election. He was not a president. Yeah, right. He was a real beauty, wasn't he? He allowed 25 million people into our country. Many of them should not have been here. And we've done. Now we have, by the way, we went from the worst border in history to the best, by far, the best border in history. But I had the support of many people, Bruce. I had the support of many people in this room, and we've got right now the hottest country anywhere in the world. King of Saudi Arabia told me that. He said, you were a dead country a year and a half ago. Now you're the hottest country. We're the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. And you're a big part of it. And you're a big beneficiary. I tell you what, take a look at your 401ks. Has anybody got a 401k that's lower than it was? Better put your hand down. Lower than it was a year ago? They're double. I mean, they are through the roof. The stock market has hit 53 all-time record highs since the election. And earlier this month, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose above 50,000 for the first time ever. Right, Scott? First time ever. And also, you know, they don't talk about this. The S&P broke 7,000. So when I got elected, they said for the S&P to break 7,000 within 4 years would be a great achievement for the president. And for the Dow Jones to break 50,000 would be a great thing, but it's not possible. They were talking about in 4 years. Scott, they said in 4 years it would not be possible to break 50,000 or 7,000 under these two very important, call them a metrics. And you know what happened? We broke it before the end of my first year. So, right? So we did something. So they said we couldn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. More Americans are working today than at any time in American history. So we have more Americans right now working than at any time. And you know, when I say this stuff, I get the fake news back there, a lot of it. Thank you. I agree. Sometimes we have to be very careful because they actually go, and it's not pretty, Leo. We have to get Leo and the DOJ involved. But think of that, Leo, think of that. More Americans are working today than any time in history. And since I took office, African-American employment has increased by 182,000, the highest ever. Jobs. 182,000. Nearly 500,000 black Americans have rejoined the labor force since we took office. 500,000 wages for workers have increased $1,000, $2,000, even $3,000, and even sometimes, in some cases, $5,000 a year. That's faster than inflation. So wages have gone up at a much faster clip than inflation. We took over the worst inflation in the history of our country. They say 48 years or 49 years. I said that, I said, inflation under Biden has went up more than at any time in the history of our country. They said, he's not right about that. It's 49 years. I said, all right, I'll accept that too. Actually, I think it sounds worse, Harmeet. I think for some reason, because when you say the worst ever, but when you say the worst in 49 years, I'll take that, right? The fake news got me on that one. I think I was right, by the way, but I'll accept 48 or 49 years. But for the first time in many years, 100% of all net job creation is going to American-born citizens. Think of that, 100%. And in the last administration, it was going mostly to illegal aliens that came in, many of them murderers and others. Last summer, we passed the largest working-class tax cuts in the history of our country. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And you're going to see that, it just kicked in on January 1st. You're going to see tremendous results, and they're already seeing it. And I think we're going to have GDPs. We're going to have numbers that nobody's ever seen before, Scott. And we can't provide opportunity for the next generation if we do not also have a thing called law and order. We need law and order. Washington, D.C. is amazing. It was a crime capital. It was a horror show. A year ago, it was really dangerous, and now it's one of the safest cities anywhere in the country. And we're in Memphis, Tennessee now, where it's like a different world. In 4 months, we've made it safe. We're in Louisiana, as you know, or lots of other places, and we have the lowest crime numbers that we've had in many years. We have the lowest murder numbers in 125 years, since 1900. And that's despite the fact that a lot of people are here, but those people have been taken out. Lots of them have been taken out. That's why we stopped the invasion at the southern border. And just 1 year ago, and think of this, 1 year ago, we had the absolute worst border that we've ever had, and now we have the safest border that we've ever had. So it's going to be really something. 125 years ago, that's before my father was born. I had a wonderful father, but that was before. So we have, murders are down from 125 years. We had the best numbers. When you think about it, that's pretty incredible. And those numbers are made up by Democrats. Can you believe it? They don't want to give me those numbers. They can add a couple of people here and there. But I've also deployed the National Guard to bring back safety to Memphis and to New Orleans and Washington. And the National Guard has been incredible, and people are safe. In the case of Washington, the restaurants were all closing up. People were getting really badly hurt and killed, frankly. Many people killed. And now you can walk down the street and you have nothing to fear. We have one of the safest cities in the world, and it happened very fast, Bruce. Another way that we're fulfilling our duty to the next generation is the single biggest thing that's happened having to do with schools and education. It's called school choice in our great, big, beautiful bill. Our beautiful bill, which really covers 4 years. We put it all together. That's why we call it the great, big, beautiful bill. This will help millions of African-American children and ensure that no child is condemned to a failing government or a horrible school. And we have a person here who's fantastic on this subject. Greta, would you please come up? Please, Greta, come on up. Thank you. And her beautiful daughter. Thanks, Greta. Thank you very much.
God bless you. Happy to meet you, darling. Well, I ditto. To God be the glory. And we're grateful for our president. He's doing some tremendous work. And I want to remind those that don't know that this was prophesied. So you weren't supposed to have the second term when it came about. This is your season. And God said that it was going to be rough the first 2 years and that things were going to happen, but then the last 2 years are going to be great.
Well, I hope
and
so.
yes, you're going to do some tremendous things. And so for that, we thank you. On behalf of all the mothers all around the world, I'm from Texas. I live in a zip code that I didn't have an opportunity to have a choice to go to school. And so when I raised my children, I wanted a better opportunity for them. And I'm so grateful to ACE scholarships and all the doors that the president is opening for education. My son was in a school that he didn't have any voice, and he found drugs in school, and he died. And so I'm here today to just show my appreciation for all the moms around the world. We have a choice now. This choice is so important to mothers. I have a child that, because I had a choice, she's in private school. She's thriving. She's thriving. She's going to be an anesthesiology nurse, and she's doing great. And ACE scholarships was a big part of that. Changing education changes everything. In my zip code, it feels like we were locked in a cage, and being locked in a cage and can't get out. And because of all of the things that you're doing for education, now we can get out and soar. Our children can have a chance to be prosperous, just like other children. And I thank you for that. This is a great opportunity. So on behalf of all the mothers all around the world, I stand here and I give you your flowers while you can still get them. Thank you. I appreciate you. Give me a hand.
Thank you, sweetie.
And this is your.
Look how beautiful. What a beautiful. Thank you. Wow, so nice. Thank you very much. Thanks, Greta.